Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome you to my presentation, Bring Your Own Devices to Enhance Students' Motivation in STEAM Learning. I am BYOD. I teach physics and multimedia in Denis Gabor College. As you know, Denis Gabor got Nobel Prize in Physics in 1971. During this presentation, I will talk about hypothesis formulating and different methods used in this project. We are confident that the traditional physics classes are not good enough and popularity of physics science has decreased worldwide. Students have devices, but they don't know how to use it for good purposes. This is the key question that we want to focus on. During the lockdown period, many new questions rise up which has to be solved immediately. We have to focus on how we teach physics during this period, how we prepare our lecture, how we keep and rise up the students' interest, how we keep the motivation of students, how we can enhance students' motivation. Before I started this pilot project, I had to formulate some hypotheses. I think that interactive activities planned will improve students' core competencies. I also think that the mobile devices used for homemade measurements and experiments will also improve the physics education. The following implementation have been done in the past and will be done again with my students from high school and college BSc level who are enrolled to compulsory physics classes. Some of the students are studying in full training education, some of them take part in distance training education. As you saw in table of content, during this pilot project I used 3 different types of methods. One is cooperation method, presented here. During the use of method, the classroom is transformed into an attractive environment, but this time, unfortunately, we had not got any classroom. All problems has to be solved online. In this sense, this activity was kind of pilot project. One of key questions was how we can make these activities. Some students prepare online quiz questions, was working on the problem-solving exercise, and made some predictions or real hands-on experiments. Using this method, students study the pressure types and laws, and for this reason, they done many experiments, but only a few of them will be presented here. As you see in this slide, students exploring the meaning of the pressure with the balloon, applying a force on the wood plate at the top and observe what was going on. Another group of students studied the dependence of the pressure of a gas on the temperature. For this reason, they used a hard-boiled egg and an Erlenmeyer flask. After the experiments, they started their online conversation and started to develop and improve their critical thinking and argumentum skills. A group of students studied the hydrostatic pressure using only a PET bottle. They had to predict and observe what happens when they made holes at 3 different heights. Finally, they observed and concluded that the hydrostatic pressure depends on the height. Aim of this experiment was to understand Bernoulli's equation based by the observation. In both cases, students need to have a ping pong ball. Observing the movement of the ping pong ball, students concluded that the pressure in liquid and gases depends on the flow rates as well as the hydrostatic pressure. During this exciting and successful activity, students learned to make observations, form hypotheses, made their fun experiments, deduce their conclusions. They were involved in teaching and learning procedure through the camera, using their own devices and own tools for experiments. In the project method, students solve a practical problem over a period of several days or weeks. This is the second project that I would like to present you. This time the method has been used online, therefore it was unique. The aim of the project was to determine the value of the gravitational acceleration using students' own devices and different types of measurements. As you see, the following measurements method I have offered to my students. recording and analyzing the sound of the ball rolling and free falling, or video recording and analyzing the movement of the free fall bowling, or use of the Firefox free apps designed by Aachen University. The hypothesis formulated was common. The value of the acceleration of a ball falling freely from any height is the same. Well, my students has carried out one of the activity proposed and make their measurements. Here you can see the recording analyzing the sound of the ball rolling and free fall, the necessary materials. After recording of the sound phi, students has to analyze after noise filtering of the recorded phi. If students are using the second method, video recording and analyzing the movement of the free falling ball, they need this material mentioned here as handball, ruler, smartphone of tablet, and the free program so-called tracker. In this slide, we can see that the free video program suitable how can be used by the students to analyze the recorded video files. This measurement had the same aim to determine the value of the acceleration due to the gravitation using another method. Students made the measurements, they recorded the motion of the falling ball 5 times. After recording the movements, the harder work started, which involved transferring the data to the laptop and starting the video analysis of each file. The video analysis took longer time because it was not such a familiar tool used by the students before. Comparison of the quadratic equation has to be done. Another project method used by my students was use of the Firefox free apps designed by Aachen University. Students downloaded this free app in their devices and make some calculations based by the built-in sensors. Well, as a conclusion, I can say that my students shared and compared their measured data. They were very enthusiastic. They made a detailed report and they discussed about the depths and importance of the measurements. They understood better the free fall. During this lockdown period, my students were able to choose the third teaching method, so-called inquiry-based learning. They formulated hypotheses, they made observation, they analyzing the project and interpreting the physical phenomena and made some conclusion. The aim of the project consists of understanding the plum pudding model proposed by Gigi Thompson. My students offered voluntarily their participation in this model. Inquiry-based learning was used for understanding the plum pudding model of atom proposed by Gigi Thompson. A simple experimental tool was constructed by the students so that the Thomson atomic model could be more easy understood. Thomson supported that the atom is made of positive charged bulk, like a pudding, and it contains electrons scattered like some resin inside the pudding. Electrons repel each other, the positive charge bulk holds the whole thing together. Here you can see the required tools for the experiment used by students, and you can also see that the 9-volt battery is not connected. We have an open circuit. The glass bowl is filled already with water, and the cork plugs with the neodymium magnet are replaced into the water. Please watch the video. You can see well that closing the circuit can be observed the changes, the movement of the corks. Based by observation of the experiment, it is clear that the generated external electromagnetic field has a huge influence. The plugs move towards the center and were arranged in a regular shape. Students were very enthusiastic, therefore analyzing the experiments, start questioning, and also try to see what will go on if they change the polarity of the circuit. Based by the action research done, I have found that using of the method was excellent for teaching and learning of the selected curriculum. Students who had joined my courses took part in the activity with enthusiasm. They enjoyed the experiments made with their own devices and used their devices and ICT tools with expertise. They use the advantages of online cooperation and increase their motivation in problem solving and also thinking. This figure symbolizes very well how usually is going on any activities. In the beginning, students started the activities with complaints, saying, I cannot do it, stepping up, changing their attitude, they arriving to a great success. I am happy why I have done this project with my students. Let me finish my presentation with a quotation made by Eve Puni et al. In 2012. ICT will affect the complete learning process today and in the future. Thank you for your attention.